From outwitting rattlesnakes to aerial feats, this is an animal you should never underestimate.
It's a three-dimensional spatial genius.
Now a cast of cheeky characters will reveal the secret to squirrel's success.
Tonight at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Thailand, 13 souls trapped. But a miracle unfolds.
How many of you? 13. Brilliant.
But can they escape?
The entire thing was mission impossible.
Thai Cave Rescue on Nova.
Tonight at 8 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
On the next articulate, Taylor Mack believes that theatre is sacred, but that doesn't mean it's sacrosanct. Holly Black invites readers into her magical worlds. And View Farkatori was drawn to music because of his father, but pursued it in spite of him. Join us for the next articulate.
Sunday at noon on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
Like science? Great! You can explore science with a monthly package from Little Passports. Each month, you receive a new and unique package that's loaded with hands-on experiments. Who doesn't like slime, or building an actual solar car, or solving a real-world mystery with fingerprints? New experiments delivered each month with a science subscription from Little Passports. Learn more at littlepassports.com. Must be 18 years or older to order.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Arizona State Representative-elect Raquel Terán appeared in court today following an accusation challenging her citizenship status. The judge's decision coming up.
Plus, the latest on California's deadliest wildfires and how Arizona agencies are working to help fight them.
And we follow Vietnam War vets on an emotional journey in Washington, D.C. for a special memorial.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Jennifer Alvarez.
And I'm Bryce Newberry. Thank you for joining us. Newly elected Democratic Arizona Representative Raquel Terán has found herself in the headlines the past few days, but not because of her recent win. The representative-elect has been taken to court by a woman who claims Terán was not born in the United States and therefore is not qualified to serve in public office. Cronkite News reporter Alexa Avila was at the courthouse this morning.
This is not the first time Alice Novoa has taken Terán to court. Back in 2012, she made the same claim after Terán ran for state senate, with a judge later dismissing that case. Today, another judge has also ruled this latest lawsuit was baseless, but Novoa has vowed to fight on.
I'm happy that this is over. I can't deny that this was a burden.
A burden that landed Representative-elect Raquel Terán inside a Maricopa County courtroom today. A judge dismissing the lawsuit filed against Terán last week by this woman, Alice Novoa.
So I'm very excited.
Terán vowed to fight the suit after she was served just 2 days after winning her election for District 30 in Phoenix.
The message was clear that I was not going to be intimidated or harassed or allow this psychological warfare to go on. We know that in our communities, at a local level, at a national level, we're living an anti-immigrant climate.
Judge correctly and squarely rejected Ms. Novoa's claims that are born in her racial animus.
Despite the judge's ruling today, Novoa says she'll continue to try and prove her belief Tehran wasn't born in the U.S.
Because millions of illegal aliens are registered to vote, and thousands of elected officials are illegal aliens and are holding office in every state. And I'm talking about anchor babies, and if she is an anchor baby, I plan to take her all the way to the Supreme Court once and for all.
Despite Novoa's claims, Tehran's attorney explained the process the representative-elect who was born in Douglas has to go through to run for office.
So a legislative candidate is required to turn in nomination petitions on which people from their district say that they nominate that person to be a candidate for the office that they seek. At the same time they turn that in, they're also required to turn in what's called a nomination paper. And on that nomination paper, the candidate says under penalty of perjury that they are qualified to hold the office that they seek. And here, because this is a legislative office, that would include citizenship.
Despite the evidence in the court's decision, Novoa says she is not giving up.
This is not even a birth certificate.
This is a reminder that it not only can happen to me, but it can happen to a child in the classroom. It could happen to workers. It can happen to other elected officials that are knocking on doors, or other candidates that are knocking on doors.
In addition to throwing out the case, the judge also ruled that Novoa must pay attorney fees. In the broadcast center, Alexa Avila, Cronkite News.
Elections officials in Arizona say they're almost at the finish line when it comes to counting outstanding ballots from the midterm election. Of the 2.2 million votes cast, there were about 147,000 ballots left to count as of last night. The only race yet to be called is Secretary of State, in which Democrat Katie Hobbs holds a slim lead over Republican Steve Gaynor. Meanwhile, Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is pointing to Arizona as an example of good election practices in the ongoing debate over the governor's race recount in Florida.
And the Republican Secretary of State in Arizona explained why the process there took longer and how important it was the election results be accurate, even if it takes a few extra days. Florida GOP officials should follow the lead of their friends in Arizona and count every vote fairly, no matter what the outcome.
You can track our continuing election coverage on cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
In Texas, Defense Secretary James Mattis visited troops at the U.S.-Mexico border. The visit comes shortly after President Trump's order to deploy thousands of soldiers to that region ahead of the arrival of a caravan of migrants from Central America. Secretary Mattis says he doesn't expect troops to have any contact with the migrants.
Our units are in a position to enable the Border Patrol's law enforcement operations. We determined that the mission was absolutely legal, and this was also reviewed by Department of Justice lawyers. It's obviously a moral and ethical mission to support our border patrolmen.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection authorities in Texas and New Mexico say their border crossing times could increase as they send officers to ports in California and Arizona. The border officers are moving west as the first asylum seekers in one migrant caravan arrive at the border. The first group reached Tijuana yesterday, and thousands of Central American migrants are traveling in smaller groups on their journey to the U.S.
As the statewide death toll reaches 50, a third California fire sparked overnight just east of Los Angeles in San Bernardino. That fire has spread to more than 140 acres so far. In Northern California, lighter winds and cooler weather are slowing down the spread of the fire, but smoke remains heavy and low to the ground. Officials say this fire is the most deadliest and destructive in the region's history. The blaze is one-third contained after destroying 7,600 homes, according to state authorities. Strong winds have calmed and humidity is up, helping nearly 6,000 firefighters. A new lawsuit attributes the fire up north to a major utility company for reportedly failing to inspect and properly maintain its power lines. However, authorities say it could still take months to determine the causes of the fires.
Unfortunately, everything that I've seen, this is just truly devastating and heartbreaking. It's one of the worst disasters that I've seen in my career, hands down. This is my fourth trip to California. Unfortunately, every trip this year has been forest fires, and each trip I say this is the worst fire I've seen, and now we're here today, and this is the worst fire I have seen.
The Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management has sent nearly 150 firefighters and more than 40 engines to help contain the blazes. Firefighters from Nogales to the Valley and all the way to Coconino County are on a 2-week assignment to assist with fire suppression and to fill in for local fire departments.
Veterans Day was this weekend, and so was an annual gathering aimed at helping vets who struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder. Amani Stevens in our Washington bureau has the story of the 31st annual Operation Freedom Bird.
Going to war meant life or death, and healing from those traumatic experiences took some time, particularly for those with PTSD. For some, the journey toward healing went from Arizona to here, this Veterans Day.
William Quill. Here.
The nonprofit organization Operation Freedom Bird is helping veterans take their steps toward comfort.
They're able to then move forward in their lives, which in some cases stopped when they returned.
I never thought about that until I got here and I seen the names, and then now I can see the kids' faces.
For over 30 years, groups of veterans have made this journey to the nation's capital. And for most, the memories are still raw.
There was a feeling of death every place and everything you did over there.
It's the start of the healing process, and a reason why Vietnam War veteran Rick LaFawn says he never understood what healing meant until now.
It was like literally stepping back into time. Yeah, going back into a place that you're always trying to bury.
And years later, LaFawn had a special moment. He reunited with veterans from Korea, who also served in Vietnam. But the number of people that serve in any war is getting smaller.
There's very few people in this life that really understands the horror, the disgust, the fear, the living condition.
The VA estimates that about 30 out of every 100 of Vietnam War veterans have suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder.
It's the community that actually has to help with PTSD. It can't be just an individual thing.
And 50 years later, LaFawn says it wasn't good to hold on to the pain this long.
Survival isn't just coming back with all your body. It's the baggage that you bring back with you.
In Washington, Imani Stevens, Cronkite News.
Arizona High School started a new program with bonus incentives, but not for its students.
Coming up on Cronkite News, teachers in Arizona are receiving a bonus for each student that passes their AP exam.
And the holidays are a time for online shopping, but that also means package thefts. Local police departments are working with the public to help stop thieves from stealing your packages.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem. Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
High school students who take advanced placement tests have the opportunity to earn college credit. But now teachers and schools are benefiting from their students passing the AP tests. John Cardinelli is live in the broadcast center to explain. John?
In 2016, Governor Doug Ducey signed into law the College Credit by Examination Incentive Program. The program allows teachers to earn a bonus for each one of their students that passes the test. Money was distributed to teachers and schools for the first time this year. Jim Clark is an AP Physics teacher that has been teaching at Hamilton High School in Chandler since it opened in 1998.
The AP courses are designed as advanced placements, so it's for kids that are advanced in whatever area to kind of keep moving forward and do college level work while they're still in high school.
Every advanced placement class is associated with an exam taken at the end of the school year. Clark has had a great pass rate among his students.
For mechanics, I believe the average was over 90% with an average score of 4.2 something out of 5.
AP students that pass the exam receive college credit, but now teachers are also getting an incentive.
I had 102 students pass at the appropriate level, and I think it worked out to 15,000 and change gross.
This $15,000 earned was a bonus due to the College Credit by Examination incentive program. The program paid out teachers for the first time this year. On average, a teacher can earn $300 for every one of their students that passes. Half of that $300 goes back to the school district.
The other part of the money that does come to the district is going to be directed towards the sites as far as for supporting training, curriculum, and needs of those classes.
One AP student who just learned about the program thinks it is well deserved.
The fact that they're getting this recognition right now and they're getting some extra incentive is great and awesome.
And Clark says, while the new bonus is nice, at the end of the day, it is students passing the AP test that matters to him.
Education gets a bad rap here in Arizona, and my students can then see, hey, you know what? I'm doing just as good as all those states that supposedly have awesome education. Well, we have an awesome education here as well.
According to analysis by AZ Central, $3.8 million was awarded this year to teachers and schools across the state. Hamilton High School received the most out of any school in Arizona with $213,000. In the broadcast center, John Cardinelli, Cronkite News.
As holiday gift-giving season approaches, more people are shopping online and having presents shipped to homes. That's giving thieves an opportunity to grab your gifts. But as reporter Gabriela Becerra explains, local police departments are working together to reward you for helping solve package theft.
It's more than just the inconvenience of replacing a package. It's a child's Christmas gift. It's a work product for somebody, or maybe someone saved all year for something and it has sentimental value.
And since 70% of U.S. homeowners expect to receive packages during the holiday season, according to Edelman Intelligence, that's a chance for those gifts to be Grinched. Silent Witness is rewarding people for turning in information that leads to an arrest.
If you see something out of the ordinary where you later find out a crime had been committed or turns out it's related to a crime and you give that information to Silent Witness, even if the charge turns out to be a misdemeanor crime, we're still going to pay out on that.
The amount rewarded depends on the severity of the crime. You can receive up to $1,000 for assisting with a felony arrest. Home security and even doorbell cameras can help catch the criminal's image, but police say there's an even simpler strategy.
We have to embrace the technology, but the critical piece of what we do that can't be replaced by any form of technology is getting to know your neighbors.
Officers suggest having trusted neighbors pick up packages or schedule deliveries while you're home to help prevent package theft.
So you can minimize the amount of time that package is sitting out in front of your house.
Police say it will take more than just law enforcement to prevent package theft. It will take a community effort.
This program is not just us, it's all of us together.
In Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
Reporting information to Silent Witness is not the same as making a police report. You can remain anonymous. Silent Witness shares the information you give with law enforcement to help detectives solve the crime.
Now that it's November, we're getting a nice break from our hot summer temperatures.
Next on Cronkite News, we take a look at what it takes to freeze items by saving energy.
Our cooler temperatures this week have some of us reaching for that extra jacket. But will the trend continue? I'll have the details coming up.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
Here at Cronkite News, we have producers who craft shows that make an impact on our community. Our broadcasts allow students to be involved in all levels of production, from producing to directing. We are guided by highly respected professionals who mentor the journalists of tomorrow. From technical directing to teleprompting and beyond, our production crew works tirelessly to produce meaningful and award-winning shows. We are Cronkite News on Arizona PBS.
Our Cronkite News reporter Sammy Giebers had to put on quite a few extra warm layers for this next story. She followed researchers into a freezer to learn more about what local groups are doing to sustainably store food in sub-zero temperatures.
So you have to put the jackets and the hats and gloves and everything.
Any guesses as to what these researchers are gearing up for?
I enjoy doing the studies from my lab as opposed to in the freezer itself.
Here's a hint.
And it's telling us that right now we are running at a chilly -18, which is exactly where we want to be.
It's -18 degrees in this ice cream freezer. Researchers and developers are coming up with a more sustainable way to keep all of your frozen treats cold.
This is my kids' favorite project that I do because I'm keeping their ice cream cold.
ASU researchers Bash's, SRP, and Viking Cold Solutions have come up and installed those guys. Way up there, they're face change material. They act like ice packs, like the one you might put in your lunchbox.
And the idea is that it's gonna store the cold stuff that we need, and then it's gonna release that cold slowly when it's getting hotter outside and when energy is getting more expensive.
It takes a lot of energy to keep Bash's ice cream freezer cold, especially during a summer in Chandler.
Annually, they use about as much power as 1,000 of our homes.
And these thermal energy storage systems allows Bash's to turn off their air conditioners during peak hours.
It's important for us to be thinking about the future, thinking about innovative ways to conserve energy, thinking about sustainability.
Okay. Here we go.
And Kristen Parrish hopes that this sustainability project will expand to other parts of the valley and other freezers. In Chandler, a very cold Sammy Giebers for Cronkite News.
SRP said these warehouses take up a significant amount of power, especially in summer months. Projects like this can help reduce energy and fossil fuel use.
Brr. We may need a few layers of our own looking at our low temperatures this week.
Definitely. Haley, will these breezy fall temperatures stay with us?
Absolutely. We've seen lower than average temperatures throughout the entire beginning of this week, and that trend's going to stay with us at least through the end of this work week and into this weekend. And we're not alone. Temperatures all across the entire region are a little bit lower than average. In Albuquerque, they're sitting at 50 degrees right now. Typically on this day in previous years, they top out around 56 or 57. Up in Grand Junction, Colorado, same thing, also at 50 degrees. They typically top out in the low 50s, just a few degrees warmer than what they're at today as well. Bringing it back home, looking at the next 8 hours, we're going to stay in those 60s, dropping down into the low 60s by 8 p.m. and into the 50s by 10 p.m. So be sure to have a couple of extra blankets on hand going into tonight. Highs across the state today. We're going to continue this repeat performance that we've seen over the last few days going into tomorrow. Highs in 76 here in Phoenix, 51 up in Flagstaff, 55 in the Grand Canyon, 78 over in Yuma. And looking at the lows tomorrow night across the entire state, 47 here in Phoenix, 22 Flagstaff, 18 in the Grand Canyon. Yeah, that's teens up in the high country, 30 in Heber as well as Show Low. And along with these cool temperatures, we also have a little bit of wind chill. All of this wind focused on the southern part of the state right now, blowing to the west, also coming with a little bit of cloud coverage. And going into the rest of this week, we're going to keep those digits just a little bit lower than average. Our average for this week is 77. We won't hit that for the whole week. We're going to top out in those mid-70s, highs in the upper 40s. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Haley Brand.
A $178 million renovation project that took 7 months to complete has finally been revealed.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we take you to the unveiling of the extreme makeover at ISM Raceway.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up. Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
It's been 7 months since renovations started at ISM Raceway in Avondale. But this past weekend, race fans in Arizona were the first to be able to enjoy the multi-million-dollar project themselves for the Can-Am 500 semifinal race. Ricardo Avila takes us on a tour.
The day finally came. The curtain on the $178 million renovation project at ISM Raceway lifted. An extreme makeover that includes several new features that are intended to make fans an essential part of the action.
The whole thing, it's just everything's brand new. It's just, I don't know, my jaw's been down here all weekend. So Phoenix is my favorite. I've been to Bristol and Vegas and California, but Phoenix has always been my favorite.
The infield experience allows fans to get into the garages and closer to the drivers and their teams. Just ask Sheila Finley, who came in from Canada just for the race.
They've done an awesome job. It's really nice. I can't compare it to what it was before, but it's awesome compared to the other tracks I've been at. Oh, it's right up near the top. So far, so good. They've done a great job here. Great job.
As you can see, I'm currently surrounded by hundreds of race fans who are very excited about the last race of opening weekend here at the renovated ISM Raceway. Fans can purchase one of these bad boys, a hot pass for $129, getting them access to be up and close to the drivers in the garages and being closer to the action. This is the biggest renovation in ISM Raceway's history. New features like a pedestrian tunnel that connects the infield to the grandstands, made of reused parts of the old bleachers, literally connects past and present.
It's pretty impressive. We've been coming out here for several years now, and it's definitely a step up. I've been to Vegas, Daytona, and they're definitely stepping up to the plate. You gotta come and see it. It's unbelievable. That's all I can say.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and judging by fan reaction, the ISM Raceway in Avondale nailed it.
Even though the next official race is in March, fans can check out the raceway during all of December for Zoomtown Lights, a Christmas-themed raceway experience.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll show you how protesting through sports has a long history in this country. That's Wednesday on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. The Zika virus hit Puerto Rico hard. That was before the hurricane. How the disease is affecting mothers now. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
I'm Susan Linkus of the Linkus Group, a fee-based registered investment advisor specializing in financial planning, investment management, insurance strategies, and more. LinkusGroup.com, investing for life.
Think Wednesday on PBS for stories from the world around us. Stories of scrupulous squirrels.
A horde must be defended, even if it means fighting for it.
A race to the rescue.
This is the most dangerous diving in the world.
And climate calamities.
Sea levels are going up.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday.
Tonight, starting at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Arizona PBS deeply appreciates every gift we receive, and we are proud to honor our Executive Society. These supporters believe in the mission of public television and are making a real impact in our community. If you would like to join the Executive Society, please call the number below or log on to azpbs.org to join. Thank you.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Watch us online. Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
I knew what I was accepting when my passage out here was paid. To marry a man I'd never set eyes on before.
I like the look of you. We've waited 12 years for this.
You've been brought here as the property of your husband, and you will behave accordingly.
What if these men have been on their own for so long they're not men anymore?
If we are to be free, we must possess their minds, their souls.
Sunday night at 6 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
the implant and denture experts, with their digital technology, strive to give you a confident and natural smile with dentures on implants, featuring titanium posts as the roots of your dentures. Information and appointments at theimplantdentureexperts.com.
Don't let the flu sneak up on you. NextCare Urgent Care has 43 locations in Arizona and offers online check-in. Most insurance plans accepted and no appointment is needed. Information at nextcare.com or 855-279-2503.
Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, with election results still coming in, Democrats seem poised to take more statewide and federal offices. Is Arizona now becoming more purple? The Democrats at the state legislature have picked their leaders. We'll hear from the new minority leaders of the state House and Senate. And we'll take a look back at the history of sports protests with two Olympic athletes that took their own stand.